Welcome back to the Crypto Wise channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about macro technical analysis on XRP, where to accumulate at its bear market lows, and in confluence of Bitcoin, and how we can position ourselves extremely well for the next bull cycle. I could do another video later on in terms of targets, but for now, I want to talk about accumulation zones. The market has been coming down pretty aggressively the last couple of days. And yeah, it should be no surprise to you if you guys have been following my videos or following some of my content here on YouTube. So yeah, welcome to the Crypto Wise channel. This is a channel where we focus on macro technical analysis and facts in the charts so we can have clarity and ease of decision making in the crypto markets, laying out highest probabilities based on chart patterns, confluence, and indicators. No news, no hype, no narrative. Staying cool, calm, and focused. One big thing I want to put forth in this channel is that everything can be predicted or detectable in the market through technical analysis. No major moves, including this one, should be surprising, okay? If you follow basic technical analysis, chart patterns, you'll be able to see that these moves are detectable before they happen. Not a shocker for me at all. I was expecting a meltdown over these January and February, and it's exactly what we're getting. In a previous video, I talked about how the highest probability was Bitcoin was going to break down further based on previous history and macro analysis. That was the 2nd of February, right? And yeah, the 2nd of February, and now today, the date of recording is the 5th of February. And yeah, so this might be posted later on. I might post this a day or two later because I might be making a couple more videos, but just check the timestamp of when it gets posted. But it's macro analysis, so it could be late, and that's fine because there should be plenty of time for you to accumulate. So focusing on XRP here, if you're interested in learning a little bit about where the bear market low would be for Bitcoin, check out this video here that I posted on the 2nd of Feb. Bitcoin bear market confirmed plus bear market historical targets. So I'm giving you my price targets for Bitcoin. Today we're focusing on XRP. So here's what we're doing here. Okay, we're just going to look at where the price is now and price history. We can see something very, very similar. If I take this bars pattern, I always have a hard time finding it. Give me a moment. There it is here. So what I'm going to do is the bear market low of the previous cycle all the way to the bear market low. So that would have been the COVID crash in this case, to the bear market low June 22nd. We can see that. No, it doesn't line up very well. Well, it lines up here like this though. That's what I was getting at. So what I'm doing is I'm forecasting when what I'm doing is I'm copying the previous cycle here and printing it and putting it over where basically XRP had an expansive move. So I'm matching the alt season, basically the miniature alt season we had, where XRP had 1,000% move. Okay, and if we look at from that low to the high here on this wick here, 859. If we go for the absolute low, it still did 1,180%. So it was actually a little bit more, but that means I would have to take it over here. So we can see the full expansion from the low to the high of the previous cycle was 1,600%. And the previous low to this cycle high now is 1,180%. All right. So hopefully this is not confusing, but this is XRP is a little bit different because it went sideways for a while. But this is a cycle. This was its bull cycle in 2020, and this was its bear market in 2022. This was the bull cycle in 2025, and we're in the bear market of 2026. Okay, so we always have 3 years up, 1 year down for Bitcoin. For XRP, it's more like almost 3 years of sideways, and then 4 weeks of up. No, I'm just playing around. You must not come on, don't get too confident. No, the thing is like XRP just has these moments where it consolidates a lot. So, but either way, what I'm measuring this is I'm measuring this from the expansive part to the top, and then the bear market. So we can see that the pattern looks very similar. So we have the expansive move here to the top, and then the bear market, the expansive move to the top, and then the bear market, right? So similar patterns last cycle, just like Bitcoin's previous cycle looks very similar. So when we put this here, we can see that the pattern is very similar. We basically have this like double top pattern. Over here, it was like a triple top, 1, 2, 3, and then big breakdown into a much longer capitulation and consolidation, right? So, and then if I remove this here, we can see that we have a double top. It just doesn't look that clean, but there's the wick there for one top, and then there's a double tap there. Well, you can call it a head and shoulders as well, because the wicks do count. So we do have a head and shoulders, and now we're breaking down. No surprise. Every chart pattern tells us something. If I zoom out on the weekly, yeah, either way, double top or triple top, however you look at it, it's still a topping structure, right? It's not the very nicest one, but anyways, it's there. So like I talked about, highest probabilities, we're going to keep going down. And now we're just going to compare cycles here a little bit and just get a better understanding of where could XRP go? Where would be a good accumulation zone? So when we look from cycle high to cycle low here, we had a 96% decline from the cycle top 2018 to the 2020 low. From the 2021 top, which was the alt season of 2021 in April, to the bear market low was a decline of about 85%, okay? And from this high to where we are now, from this high of $3.68 to where we could potentially go, if we were to measure, 75% would put us around 90 cents. So that's a possibility because it's an increase of 10%, increase of 10%. We could see a bottom around 91 cents. So it wouldn't be a bad place to start accumulating right around 90 cents, okay? That is recommended just based on, I'm just doing simple math here, guys. It's just patterns, right? So this pattern tells me that there's a good probability that this could be the final low here, right around 90 cents, which would be back testing this prior wick here, which was the daily pump that we had when XRP actually was deemed not a security in that lawsuit case that everyone thought was manipulating the price. Well, it did, technically, but it's not the only factor. Anyways, so that's one thing. So we could bookmark that as a potential starting point to accumulate right here. Now, I don't think that would be the low. I think it could be a good starting point. I'll make it green just to know that could be a good starting point to accumulate. But I think it could go lower, and the reason is because when I pull out the 200 EMA, okay, on the 2-weekly time frame, and the 50 EMA, something that's really important to understand. This 50 EMA, okay, the 50 EMA is something that you need, that's very, very important, a very basic thing to understand with the 50 EMA. When the price breaks the 50 EMA on any time frame, it typically goes straight to the 200 EMA. It's very, very common to see that. And oftentimes it'll go below it, just like Bitcoin has done, and I would expect XRP to do something very similar. So we can see in the previous cycle, when we had a very similar structure, we had an expansive move to the top of the market, we had a triple top pattern, and when we broke it, we broke the 50 EMA at the same time that we had a confirmation of that pattern breaking down, the head and shoulders pattern. And then what do we do? Well, we went straight to the 200 and then we actually broke below it, right? Broke below it. And then we spent quite a bit of time going above it and back below. So there's plenty of time to accumulate. This is why people should not panic and should watch and observe and wait for patterns to form. There's always multiple times to accumulate. So buying on the way down, I would not recommend. This is, in my opinion, not a good time to accumulate. It's a good time to wait, take a breather, go on a vacation. If you had been watching my my videos, you'd be probably comfortably, I mean, hopefully, if you sold, you'd be comfortably having some cash on the side to accumulate. And if not, that's all right. There's still an opportunity to accumulate coming up. So what we see here is we see that last cycle, okay, the 200 EMA on the 2-weekly only starts here in March, even though this is the Bitstamp, yeah. So we don't have a lot of history with this 200 EMA, but we can see how it reacted in 2022. We actually broke below at about 23%. So if I were to assume that that exact thing would play out, and we drop below 23% below this 200 EMA, it would put us into this box at around 75, 76 cents. So let's call it 76. So there's a zone here. This would be, let's make it red. And so this would be a good zone. A good zone here. Let me get the EMAs out of the way now. So you guys follow what I'm doing here. Just looking at pattern recognition and then laying it out for the next cycle. Just being very real with what I see. You know, it's not about what I think is going to happen. It's about what the charts are showing me. It's very, very different than having a bias of, you know, what I think is going to happen because of some news thing, right? It's not about the news. Everything's in the charts. Show me the chart and I'll tell you the news, right? Famous quote by Bernard Baruch. Okay? So, so here we are. Right now, a reason why I think we could go lower is a couple of things. All right, I'm going to get this box out of the way here for a moment. Can I just move it? Yeah, good. So now a couple of reasons I think we would go lower. So far, this is our buying zone. Now, the reason why I think we would go lower is two things. We have a massive, massive support area here. And as we know, if the price is above, these trend lines act like support. We were supported here in the COVID crash. We were supported here when the case was announced and we had a big dump. And we were supported here in the bear market low after the dump. And we were supported here in the, this was the, my goodness. This was the crash when Bitcoin went down for 5 days in a row after a new moon. It was the Japanese Yen carry trade. Right, that was that wick below the triangle. It should be July. Yeah, see, this is 1st of July. We're on the 2-weekly time frame. That was early July, that wick, and it closed above because we ended up bouncing pretty soon. So this acts like major, major support. I highly doubt that the price would break through this line. Highly doubt, because Bitcoin doesn't have that much more to go down, and that would give XRP another 40% down from where it is. And that would give a total from bull market top to bear market bottom an 80% down, which would still be less than the previous, right? Which falls into our expectation because the previous one before that was lower, right? We would expect this to continue, right? So we had 96. 85 from cycle top to cycle bottom, cycle top to cycle bottom. If it's 80%, it follows the pattern of it decreasing less, you see? So the confluence factor of us landing in this area of this upward sloping trend line below the 200 weekly EMA, which is here, like it did last cycle, and as well as, let me just clean this up first. There's a lot of stuff there. And also the other confluence factor of landing in a extremely strong support area in terms of all this price action here. If I go to the monthly time frame, this was the most concentrated traded area here that we had before the impulse, before this impulse to the upside in November. This deeply concentrated area acts like very strong support and a strong demand area. The price, I'm going to say right now, if it makes it down there, there is probably about a 95 to 99% probability that it will get supported there the first time. And potentially even the second time. I would even give it another a good like 90% chance that it gets supported the second time. It's very, very strong support. So this zone here, I would think that this would be the ultimate low. If we were going to see a wick below things like this, possible, right? These wicks, we could wick into this area, right? We could wick a little bit below, something like this. Maybe it goes a little bit like this and goes up again, and then we have a wick like this into like 64, but the candle closes above or on 70 cents. Okay, so we could have a small wick, like, you know, maybe it does a candle like that. But the body of the candle stays in the same horizontal range. Oh, excuse me. In the same horizontal range. You see what happened here? Candle close, candle close, candle close, candle close. Wicks below, wick below. These candle closed higher, wick below. It was all being supported in this horizontal range. So because we had something similar here, let me just clean this up and get these out of the way. So because we had something very similar here happen, right? Candle close, candle close. These wicks are less relevant. We had 1, 2, 3 wicks into this same zone here at 70 cents. And we had a hard time reaching it, but all of this here, very strong support. Monthly candle closes, strong support, right? So a lot of confluence factors. A lot of confluence factors for us to land in this area. Another one would be that when we look at Bitcoin structure, okay? This was from my other video. Do I have a different one here? Yeah. Let me just, no, I don't want that one. Let's just clean this up. I don't need this anymore. So this box here is my target, but like, I'm just laying this down compared to giving us some zones here. Max pain, Bitcoin drops another 40%, okay, from where we are now. It's possible it doesn't go that low. It could stop. Max pain, I say 40%. I don't think we're going to see, it'd be hard for me to believe that we're going to go below 37K. I mean, possible, less likely. 40% down from the January high, which should have been right around 97K, to where it went now, was a 38% move. If I go back to XRP and I find the January high, which was this here, this wick here, we had a 53% total move. Okay? 38% equals about 53 so far with this wick, right? I'm counting a wick, okay? Just understand that. Doesn't mean the candle closed, right? So now, if Bitcoin does another 40% from where we are now, XRP is likely to do another 53 from where it is now. So if I measure from where the candle is, 53 would put it down to about 60 cents, okay? So we could see a wick into this area. Now, this might not be the best way to do it. I really think that this area will get supported. A wick into it makes sense. And I don't know that we'll see another 53% from there. It's a bit aggressive. This area is strong support. Yeah, see, just like here, we can see that over here we had candle close into it, though. Actually, I have to compare cycles low to cycle low is what would make sense. So we can see here, when we had this cycle low, and our first structure here that made equivalent candle closes, which were these two here and those two as lows. No, sorry. Yeah, this makes more sense. Okay, so this is where I'm going with because of this structure here. So we have a lot more. This area here at 28 cents was a much stronger support area because we had previous structure as support there. We had structure here as supports. We had all these levels here that acted as, sorry, these are resistance. These are resistance, and these ones were support because it's above. So this area, this line is a strong area of support, and it just wicked into it, right? So using that logic, it makes a lot of sense that we would wick into this zone. So at the very lowest, okay, I'm gonna make this very clear because this is a zone. I would say the very lowest we would wick into, based on what we're seeing, is there at about 63 cents, okay, on a wick. Okay? I'm going to say it again just for fun in case this happens. Okay? I'm going to say it again just in case this happens. I could already see this in a future video going like, look, I called it way before it happened. I mean, hey, it might not, but it'll be fun. So what I'm saying right now is that based on what I'm seeing, previous structure, how the candles form, support and resistance levels in history, and factoring in a bunch of confluence factors, that it would make a lot of sense that the absolute bear market low for XRP will actually be right here at this candle close, right around 63 cents. Okay, 63 cents. Absolute low on a wick. Okay. After that, I would suspect the area of 69 to about 74 to be respected, and it to be creating some higher lows as it goes along. So buying zone, before I tell you about what I'm expecting later, well, no, I'm gonna make another video for that. I just want to keep this one simple, okay, short and sweet. So buying zone is going to be here like this, okay? I'm going to call it 77 cents, okay, to about 63 cents. This is my buying zone, okay? Very realistic, based on how things move and based on how much more Bitcoin actually has to go still in a bear market, if it's going to repeat the exact bear market. So, all right, guys, hopefully this is helpful. And yeah, just remember, stay cool, stay calm, you know, don't panic. There's always another opportunity around the corner. Hopefully you guys are surviving this crash and getting ready for the next opportunity. So yeah, please like, if this is the kind of content you like, please subscribe, like, comment, would appreciate that. If you appreciate this content, if you'd like to support me and the channel, please sign up to MEXC using my link. And also, if you're looking for one-on-one support, I do offer coaching and mentorship in terms of learning how to read these charts and make these calls for yourself. And maybe you also want some private calls as well too, in terms of when to buy. That's also something we can communicate. So for that, please email me. That and the coaching, please email me in the description below. And I hope this is helpful for you. Please share it. Please share it with somebody else. Maybe there's somebody else that is looking to accumulate some XRP in a good spot. All right, and I'll see you in the next one.